parents that like, you sign up for pizza day, you sign up for teacher appreciation, you sign up for this, you sign up for that in each class. And each parent take on that party. I'm just saying this because I have to leave at 8:20. So it's just an idea because it just wasn't left as an option. And I think it worked out really well this year. I mean, although Linda and I were very involved, we have a class that's very involved, but we weren't pulling our teeth to get people like, please, could you help us? You know, there was a lot of involvement, and I think a lot of it was because those lists were out there, and I don't think anybody knew that there was an option not to participate.
You gotta get them, yeah, that's what you gotta get them early, because now you get the 5th, 6th grade, they're here, they've been here, they're like, somebody will do it. I don't need to sign up, somebody will eventually come in and ride on the white horse and provide all the things for the pizza party and
that makes me
And
sad.
it takes it out of the realm of, there's some people just don't want to help, and there's some people just don't want to do their part. We're not even going to get into that.
Right.
Everybody does it. That's the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's counterculture to what we're doing, but if you put things in place, and you're not entering into those touchy conversations like, do you think you could do this pizza this month? You haven't done it all year. Would you please do something?
Well, I'm almost
You just get angry and angry. And so if it's just structured like that by the beginning of September, anybody who didn't sign up will get a phone call. Yeah, I noticed you didn't sign up. Could I put your name somewhere?
Right.
So it's
And I
an
think
expected thing.
Exactly.
And here we are in the 4th quarter, and if you put that burden on, like, so it's the 4th quarter, the 4th pizza party, like, is that CCL really gonna want to say, no, I noticed you haven't volunteered for anything, are they, you know, right
No,
now
that's
they
not
might.
fair to the parents.
Correct,
Yeah, that should
correct.
come from the school as an institution.
Right.
You know, then nobody, it's kind of like sometimes when the teachers have to say, do some really negative discipline, if the kid's been a problem, and then they got to talk to the parents, then our way of saying, you know, I'd like to cut you more slack on Mr. Debelak, he won't allow anything, I'm really sorry about that. You just cast it off to the institution, it's a darn institution that has already set up the laws, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
The parents must be involved, the school parental involved.
And then, you know, when you know it's an institutional decision, very seldom will parents come back and complain.
Right.
Yeah, they usually feel good after they've done something.
Always. That's like when we talk to schools about how we still focus on the habituation of virtue to build character. Virtue?
What's that?
What?
You know, virtue means a lot, and because if you don't start with what's right, you can't at the moment explain to someone what they should do and why. It doesn't work.
Right.
You have to begin with the big picture of this is what we stand for. And it's not this is not a religious institution, so it's like Catholic. We say our Catholic doctrine says this, our Lutheran doctrine says this, or whatever. You're secular, non-sectarian.
It's just human decency, you know, it's just,
Right,
like,
right.
it's just, no matter what
Right.
faith or.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Be a good
exactly
It
right.
depends anything, you know.
That's what I noticed. When you talk about these things, there's not much difference.
Yeah, exactly.
We should have required reading for parents.
Yeah.
I know. Oh.
You're thinking about Birchwood School, we should require reading.
Yeah.
How did you know? That's okay.
While we're still talking, I was going to introduce this book I brought over last week. It's by Adam Grant, really good. He's a businessman, but he cites all kinds of interesting data on it's those businesses that give more than they take and that flourish.
They do better.
Totally counterintuitive. It's a nice read because it kind of takes you out of the Yeah.
Frustrating.
So is that, do you think that's our main objective? Is there any miscellaneous other than talking about how to structure the volunteerism? I think conceptually it's important to start with, you know, why would we insist on volunteerism? Why do we think it's an important part? It's not so much that, you know, we want everybody to put a little bit of extra in, but that's just the way healthy communities function, because there's an awareness that I have to give back. It's the selfishness that tears communities apart. That's the biggest problem I have with all the politics today. I don't mind if people make billions of dollars, but if you don't have a consciousness that I owe this great country that allowed me to become a billionaire, okay, then you're sick. There should be some effort on your part, either to promote more taxes or you have to appreciate people like Gates or Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg's just starting a whole new educational foundation. It's okay, great, I'm glad you made your money, you're brilliant, you deserve to make money, and then the first thought is I have to give back. That's why the whole thought of philanthropy is so big in the US. But at the same time, there's just a growing pulling away that I don't owe back. And that hurts both. It hurts those who don't get benefited by the money, and it hurts those who get ever more selfish and greedy. Both get destroyed by the whole thing. So it just runs counter to human beings living in community. Sometimes I have to give lectures to teachers on this. You want the kids to get along, but when you do things in the course of your day, if you're not thinking about how your action may affect someone else, okay, then don't expect it of the kids. If you don't behave that way, and we all mess up, sorry I didn't show up for the volunteering. I would not be bothered if somebody did not show up for volunteering, but the next day, oh my gosh, Celeste, I am so sorry. I missed my day. Okay, that's normal because we're going to make tons of mistakes, but the consciousness of it is what you owe. This is a community and you owe the community. So that's why I'm very comfortable insisting everybody has to volunteer, whether you want to, and then figuring out a nice way not to too much dig, but give a good channel. And for those who, like you all, who are overseeing it, then a non-confrontational way to go back to Mrs. McGillicuddy in January, or Ms. McGillicuddy, notice you didn't sign up for anything. We've got this pizza party coming up at the end of January. Do you think you could supply the pizzas? No? Okay, then how about February? But see, it's not you demanding it. It's this darn institution that insists we all give back. So it takes, I don't want the interpersonal conflicts. I think personal with institution, that's fine. If someone may say, I'm not sending my kids to Birchwood because they make me volunteer, I'm fine with that. But if we offend somebody, then that's not right. If the institution offends them, then it's not, either the institution should repair itself, or maybe it's in the best place for you. So we're not getting into that. That's the only thing I was concerned about with the volunteering, and you experience it. They haven't done a thing, and could you do something? Please?
I think I've even suggested something along that lines at the preschool, the orientation, the open house. Parents who are thinking about Birchwood School, I overheard myself saying something like, now if you're the kind of person who just wants to drop your kids off at school and look the other way and have nothing to do with them and just expect the school will take care of everything, this might not be the best school for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
On the contrary, it's a school that
I'm okay with that.
Come right in and be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Works better that way.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So everybody knows where you stand, then. You don't have to get into interpersonal likes and dislikes, and this is the way we have to do it. So you already had some ways of how to structure it. We talked last time also, some ideas. We thought if we could get together a classroom by classroom, grade level by grade level, sort of superstructure of what are the things that need to be done.
So that is the one thing that we had the event page. Did you get a chance to look at it at all?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
So I've got it pulled up here. So this is that volunteer spot that we talked about. So this is the group page, and we just called it Birchwood event page. So on here, and this is just an example so you can see, but it's all, anything that we have possible events. So this could be put up at any time, and anyone can take a look at it. You don't have to be registered yet until you want to sign up for something. So,
This is the Birchwood event page. So this is
Right.
anything in Birchwood, the poetry show, the Spanish show, the other thing that went
right,
on.
so it says like Spanish show, class communication leader. And so you can see this is an entire list. It can go on and on as many things as we want. When you go over here, if you hover on one of them, it'll give you a description of what it is. What is this
Oh, great.
volunteer? Yeah, so class communication leader, this is an opportunity to do this or that. These can be changed at any time. Once the link goes out, and it can go out to everyone, so they can always take a look at it. We can make changes, we can do whatever we want. If they do sign on, it works just like anything else. It'll send them a reminder about it, but we could put anything we want on here. So we can break down the class communication leader into doing different things, pizza parties, whatever.
Is that a piece of software you?
Yeah, this is one we own, that volunteer spot.
Wow.
Yeah,
The
so
other-
we
I don't
have
know-
a,
I don't know if you want to talk about the others.
So then the other thing
It's like two
we're
pieces.
looking into doing, I'm the administrator on this. I tried to add Celeste as a co-administrator, and I'm not sure how it works, because the other thought we had was to set up a page for each classroom. So kindergarten, the preschool, first grade, so that they can put similar to the thing. These are all the things we'll have for volunteering for our classroom. But I'm still working on whether or not someone else can also.
So that the
Control
classroom
it.
is not intermingled with the school, you know, because that's going to be too, you know,
Yeah.
sharing show for preschool, you don't want all that mixed in. But we also,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I set one up, I can set up, we can make it be whatever, but then I don't know if whomever is the classroom communication leader for that grade is gonna be able to manipulate it, like, which it wouldn't be the end of the world if I had to do it also, but, you know, that's another option too. But this would be great, like you were saying, in the summertime, anyone can come in and look, we can put everything throughout the year, we can always add to it. But that gives them an idea, like, okay, here's the book fair, or Grand Friends Day, this is what we do on Grand Friends Day, or poetry show. The only thing that we didn't put on here is to bring, like, food stuff, because that's not really, but, you know, we can add that later for when we need people to bring food, because we're not really considering that volunteering hours, correct? Yeah, so,
What about helping with the school kids program?
that can be put on here, school kids can be put on here.
Scripts, gift card.
Yep.
so there's something, there's almost, you almost want to look at what's a recurring thing. What's
Yeah.
like a, school kids is like a one-time, once-a-year shot. You've got other ones that are, you know, I don't know how you define that either.
And how would,
Yeah.
how would this, like, talking about the individual classroom ones, how does this interface with the teachers? Like, you know, maybe, like yours, like maybe a parent could be administrator for it, and then the teachers would maybe also be able to look at it? I mean,
Oh,
would
anyone-
this be
Yeah.
something teachers would use maybe as like drivers for field trips?
They could.
Or do we want to just kind of keep that separate?
That could be if we had a separate page. The problem with like the separate pages that you don't want to put on the big event page would be you don't want to have a parent of an 8th grader, you know, then signing up to do something in the preschool event that's going on.
And you don't want so much in there, you want.
Yeah, it
Well,
keeps
that's
it a little
too
bit
confusing.
cleaner this way, but you can, so if you have
I'm
your
talking
own.
about the classroom pages.
Should we
Yeah.
distinguish, you know, based on your question, should we distinguish between I drive my son and 3 other children to the History Museum versus I'm going to give 5 hours to IFA setup? You know, one is toward my kid in my class, in his class, versus a broader
Right.
responsibility.
They should be separate.
That is
Well,
more
and that
school
was one
And
thing,
Because
yeah.
the other problem is, I can sympathize with certain classrooms, mom and dad both work, they have high pressure jobs, they can't get out of it. You know, you know, whether on our part, the school needs to think, okay, maybe we need to look at some kind of contract with a busing, some kind of transportation organization, or partner with a school to use their buses. Because I've thought about that, we've missed a few really good field trips because we knew we didn't have enough parents. But how can we run a school and depend on parents to drive? It doesn't quite make sense. So I wonder if there needs to be some distinction between volunteering for school things that are constant, and then there's very special, like one classroom, they may just be into pizza, so you know they have monthly pizza, and another class does not. And what's the
Right.
difference? You know, we're not going to make sure everybody doesn't have to have a pizza party.
Right, right.
But related to other things, it would be more definitive, and that's what you would sign up for. Does that make sense?
It does, and we did talk about it too with volunteering hours, like in the preschool and in the kindergarten, there's so many events. And a lot of parents come because it's the little kids and they want to be there. So, and then, you know, should that be considered volunteering hours, or are you coming just to join in on the
And
party?
we can distinguish, for example, if some kindergarten parent wanted to say, yes, I will help for the setup of Grandparents' Day. Not I will
Right.
come with a grandparent, but I will be a part of the whole setup. So Mrs.
Right.
Shumway or Mrs. Chen can count on me to bring stuff, set up, make things, cut things, or whatever. That would be different than bringing grandpa.
Right. And that would be, you know, an item that's on here, because the things you're putting in here for Grandparents' Day are coming into setup, or helping to, you know, maneuver parking
Yeah.
and clean up, and, yeah.
But you're raising a good point, the early childhood wing, that is like, they're already taking time off because it's the little one. They're gonna be, once they're in 5th grade, they're not gonna take a little time off to show up. So that that would make sense that you would tag that as volunteer hours, because they're already making quite a commitment to.
Right. But I think this has a lot of
Yeah.
potential.
Mhm.
It's really good.
Yeah, this one can do notification too, right?
Yeah, so then,
That's
like you'll
good.
see, Susan, we did the sharing show that's coming up, so we did that on, that's one of the volunteer spots, and people signed up, and then just today, they should have gotten a reminder that was sent out. And then when they get it sent out, I also get notification, because of being the administrator, that these have gone out, these are the people, this is who's supposed to be coming when and bringing what, so.
Yeah, that's
Would be
great.
helpful to be separate before reminding.
Right,
The
the
reminder
reminder.
notification.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you would, if we could set it up, each grade would have their own page. You'd have the Birchwood event page, and then the kindergarten would have a page, Birchwood would have a page, second. So each of those CCLs basically would be, ideally, the administrator of their own page. And they
Right.
could add their events and for their grade. That's the way I would think, I don't know.
Yeah. And then we can just put so much stuff on here that people can look in the beginning of the school year
Mhm.
and say, oh, that sounds really interesting. And then you can, of course, remind them maybe a month out that it's coming up, that they signed up for it if it's September and now it's December.
Right, there's still some
Mhm.
involvement of.
You don't want it to
annual-
be 2 days. Yeah.
Just, the assistant's just gonna do it like 2 or 3 days, but you still wanna
Mhm.
give a gentle
Yeah.
reminder and that part doesn't end.
Yeah, but it's an easier way to remind people now. It's
Mhm.
like, this is, you know, what you were saying, this is a reminder that you all need to sign up for this stuff. Please look on the page,
Right.
pick a job that suits you
Mhm.
and your schedule, and, you know, what you like to do, and
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah.
What about, I know, what was on the list, Greg, you know, what you got? Of different ways to break out the CCLs, because last time we had a huge discussion on the volunteering, the CCL was very overwhelming, and what can we do to alleviate that? Did we get any more feedback? Did anybody have any comments?
There was one comment. Well, yeah, there's actually a few. Some CCLs report they can't seem to get any volunteers to help with anything. In those classes, it seems unlikely to get 4 or more volunteers to do all those jobs listed above. The jobs I listed were for a very busy kindergarten classroom. Yoga classrooms won't have half of those jobs.
Doesn't again that go to the same question between, we just have a very engaged parent body in this kindergarten, and in 1st grade, we don't. And so certain things that volunteer have nothing to do with how many activities the parent committee or the teacher has planned. These are constants. Then, so let's say you've got children in 1st grade, and they're just having one pizza party after another, and they're doing all kinds of fun things because you're there. And I'm a kindergarten father, and we don't do beans. And so Mrs. Chen asks me, or, you know, complains or whatever, or I complain, how come, you know, they're doing everything? And then Mrs. Chen said, well, that's parent driven. That's not a school function. Those are driven by the parents. So then the onus of the burden, if I want that in kindergarten, falls on me, not on the school to do more pizza parties, for example. So I wonder if there needs to be some distinction between activities that go on in a classroom just because you've got very engaged parents or parents who have the time. That also is a big part of it sometimes, versus a category of things that everybody can volunteer for and have a part in. Am I clear on that? Because otherwise we're going to expand all the things that we want volunteers for, and all of a sudden, then you will get certain classrooms. We can't keep up with this pace. This Dr. Gordon does everything, you know.
Okay, yeah, I mean, there's some things that are clear to the teacher, like the field trips. I mean, the teacher do.
Yeah, and I will let the teachers know that has to be up front. So Helene and I have been working on this for a long time. So all the field trips are scheduled throughout the year by the beginning of school. And so this would tell us, okay, I've got to move parents for the October field trip, but the February field trip we're going to have to do us.
I unfortunately had to leave. I was called into a meeting at work, but I gave my idea for what Mrs. Chen had said at the beginning of the year. She just set up all of those lists.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great way
Yeah.
to just get people to, it's not an option. And I just don't think that people knew it was an option to not participate. So, and because it's even though it's our third year here, it's actually our first year of really getting into the volunteerism, that I don't know if it's because we have just a really great group of parents that really are that involved, and I hope it lasts through 8th grade, that we're just that lucky. Or if it was just the way that it was set up this year, that it just was like, oh, hey, everybody wants to play together. I don't know how it worked out, but it seemed to work really well. So both of us being the CCLs this year, we didn't have to pull out anybody's teeth to get us to help.
Part of that too is, I think in kindergarten, you see those parents, we drop them off. So a certain amount of that is like, oh gosh, I haven't signed, you don't know how subliminally some of that. You haven't signed up, that's what we wanted. And you don't, you see them every day, the other parents.
Well, and we're both very involved parents. You know, like we're very, I want to be very involved in Birchwood. How do you not want to be? And that's my question is, how do you not want this to be part of your life? Your child's here 8 hours a day, more. So that's my question is that this is a huge part of our lives. So I want this is huge to us. So it just seems like if you have that energy and you bring it into the classroom every day when you drop off or you come into school, it's contagious. You know, you meet people, you shake their hands, you're happy about it. They're like, oh, okay, well, we're all going to be happy about this, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we're all going to be excited and part of this. So
I would love to have you write what you just said, write that down, and we'll publish it in the newsletter.
Linda, we've talked about it.
Couldn't say it, but you got it on tape.
It's very exciting, so,
Said that just very well, just right.
yeah, but unfortunately, I have a job.
These are the same that I have to
I love your idea, I think all the classrooms should do that. So maybe by the end of this year, the CCL should work on just what their classroom really needs to do, maybe with the
What their
teacher.
parties.
So we even start at the end of this year, this is what class next year is going to be doing, and then on the day, orientation day, it'll be printed on a list. Please sign up for at least one thing, we'll just circulate it.
That's great. I wonder, if we could do that, and maybe the CCLs could decide when and where's the best time and place. And I think this one time the teacher could just join that meeting.
For
As opposed
sure.
to trying to
Okay.
squeeze it
Yeah,
during the course of the day. So the teacher should align with when the parents are available and they can talk.
Right.
Mirror or something.
Right.
I think it also is a good opportunity if we show all the different things, because you have different parents who have different strengths, and then they can say, oh, I love artistic, I have great ideas.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity for me there. Or rather than, as they just come up, oh, we need people now, we need people now.
Like the
Yeah.
pizza party it takes no time, no energy. You send out an email to the parent that's already signed up, and you say, hey, you have to write out a check for $30. You send out an email 3 days before, take it to the office. It literally takes 3 minutes. Or you're the IFA parent, we all know, I'm not going to preach to the choir here, we all know what that is. So that takes a little bit more time, a little bit more effort, but it's a one-time deal. So do you want a whole year thing of 3 minutes a week? Or do you want that
At
one
time, right.
gust of energy right before, Christmas? So you gotta pick your strengths. And I think that by first grade, like, we all know where we stand. We all know what we wanna do.
Yeah.
So I think that's great, is to break up the CCLs and give the parents, like, I'll take pizza, or I'll take, we have a very artistic family in our class that we think would take the whole IFA thing. They would just be like, they would take it and they would divvy out the job.
That was the hallelujah I heard from the parent.
Exactly.
Scott and Carol?
So it's a thought, and and if you put it on, dare I say, like, nice little pieces of paper, and you make it look cute, the sign-up sheets, people are like, oh, what's this? And yeah, I'll sign up.
And then whatever was there, we would just put in the system anyway.
Exactly.
You still do paper.
And it's
on
already
the
signed up,
orientation,
and you put
then-
they're already in there, so they
Right.
can't get out of it. They put their name down, they can't get out of it.
Right.
They might have forgotten, it's right there. Here's your reminder. So, all right.
Okay.
Have a nice day, everybody.
Bye.
So aside from the list that you have there, then would the next step be for the respective classrooms to plan a CCL/teacher meeting for events for the next year?
Well, now you're talking the CCL, so you would be meeting with your third grade teacher, but the CCL would be different. Every class has a different personality, that's the other thing that can, like you said, some are gonna have monthly, hey, let's do monthly pizza party, because everybody can volunteer, others are lucky they can get one out, because that's just the nature of the parent culture. So you're meeting with the upcoming, let's say the second grade class now, meeting with Society is not the same personality as the next
That's right,
class
that's
coming
right.
up.
So again, you'd need two, yeah.
You see where I'm coming?
Yes, I realize that. So you can't really project to the next year.
Because the whole class, room parents is going to be different.
Yeah.
Well, you can still have an event page and then just manipulate it any way you want.
Yeah.
Right, but he's talking about meeting ahead of time with the parent for the next year, but...
Yeah.
I would meet with if I have a second grader, then I would meet with the second grade teachers, what we did this year, what was good, what was bad, what we want to do again next year.
Yeah, but you're,
And that
that's...
must be great to go for whoever would volunteer from the first grade class to.
But the first
So
grade is coming
you're
in.
saying the current CCL would meet with the teachers and say, this is what we did, and then
Right.
who you have a perspective.
That'd be a way to start.
And you're always gonna have some events that are gonna go every year for, you're gonna
Because
have
it's
the
almost like
IFA.
you need two meetings. One
Right.
is a tie-up at the end of the year. These
Yeah.
are between the teacher and the parents. These are something we see is going to happen year after year. This is what we're going to need. Versus these are the things we like to do. Maybe the second meeting would be sometime in August,
Right.
in which the teacher has a whole batch of new parents, and then
Correct.
it's mainly the teacher asking, what do you see happening?
Mhm.
Right.
New parents.
Of the
Correct.
new parents,
Everything
because
is-
we've already talked about field trips or whatever responsibilities are specific to that grade level. That goes on our major list. But then there's a sub-list that is, here's a group of parents just want to do all kinds of things, and here's a group of parents who doesn't. So,
Right.
Which can be changed each
Yeah.
year depending on.
right.
But the
The way
teachers
the
change
classes-
too though, right? we don't,
They
when
change.
you
They
find
do,
out,
not,
like.
the
who
last
these
3
are-
years they change a lot, because, that's part of our whole growing strategy.
Yeah.
And that should level out little by little. Like next year, we will be hiring no one until mid-year, teaching staff. And then after that, unless teachers move on,
Right.
we're set.
So you'll know by the end of this
Pretty
academic
much,
year,
yeah. Mhm.
who the homeroom teachers will be
Yeah.
in the respective grades for
Yeah.
the fall.
Few cases, I don't think too much in terms of This classroom at this grade level does this every year. I don't think there's too much of that. Maybe field trips. I don't know what else would be.
Early childhood doesn't,
Early childhood may, yeah. Mhm.
So that way, just in case, ideally we'd have the CCLs would be ready to go at the end of this year for next year, but probably that's not going to happen.
But we have to solidify
That way,
this.
at least we'll have some kind of a draft of a job description.
Because last year, we got at least half of the CCLs in place before the beginning of the next school year. But now, this year, they might go, ugh. No,
Where to?
It'd
Scare 'em all.
actually be better,
Yeah.
you know, when people.
Oh, if we have this set in
If you have
place,
this
yeah.
set up and show it to the general parent population, you might get a better response, I think, more people signing up, you know, even to be CCL, if they know it's, okay, it's this kind of thing. There are some people who like doing this kind of thing, administrative type of stuff.
Right.
They don't want to, I think a big reason for why a lot of people don't want to be CCLs, they're afraid of the IFA.
Yeah, that's huge.
If
That's
it
why.
wasn't for that, you know, they may, so you may get people wanting to do it. If they know you know, this is all they're doing, this one task, and they'd be happy to. I'm optimistic. The details about breaking it down, I read this yesterday, you know, the comments, you know, some people think we shouldn't break it down too much because we may not get enough volunteers. I mean, I don't know. I think you can break it down.
I think you can break it down, but you have to have the understanding that whomever is a CCL will still ultimately be responsible
Right, there's-
for making sure that things get done, because you could, but then,
In
you
what
know,
way? I mean, by pointing to that.
Yeah, or
first
just
thing,
saying,
yeah,
okay,
you know,
you're signed up for the, you know, just at least keeping on top of it and saying,
Like
okay.
as an example, the IFA, we may not know you have IFA spread up between 3 people, let's say, but if Linda needs the descriptions,
right.
then it's gonna come to you and say, we need the IFA
So you
descriptions,
know
and then
to
you
get
will
them from-
talk to whoever you need to talk to, because this needs to get in. So you're still gonna be kind of
kind of
overseeing a bit, administrating it.
But otherwise, I think you're right, it would be easier to get people to volunteer if they know, oh, I'm just gonna do this one thing. And I'm just gonna handle the pizza parties, and I'm just gonna handle, you know, like a month of organizing an event on a half day, or the IFA, that sounds good for me, and yeah. Because I think you're right, people are like, about becoming the CCL, because of how much is,
Yeah.
involved.
I think if we could find one person, and I've talked about this before, to just kind of take hold of that IFA for the ideas for every grade. Say, this is if you're struggling with ideas, this, you know, this person would kind of keep track of, you know, what was done in previous years. If you have ideas, they're gonna, what grade is your child in? Okay, let me see what I can come up with. And just kind of work with you and take the burden off of that creativity, because that's the big thing, is they don't know what to do, they don't know how to approach it. And then if you have the idea, then you can ask your parents, or if somebody hasn't signed up, say, here, this is what we're thinking, so-and-so came up with this idea for us, and we need somebody to run with it. But taking that burden up, looking, I know from our second grade, our CCL spent the summer, she was so nervous about that. She was like, spent the summer, like, trying to figure it out, and I'm like, well, I think I'm gonna do this, you know, and school hadn't even started, because she just wanted that done and out of the
She
idea.
never
I think that's a good point.
Yeah, and now
Think
she's
about-
like, ugh, I don't wanna do, she doesn't lose.
Yeah, when you think about valuable volunteerism at any place, it's valuable because somebody takes ownership of it and wants to do it, but you cannot mandate that. So having something like this just streamlines the things we have to do, which includes, there's options for being the IFA idea generator.
Right.
Because there's somebody who says, oh yeah, I love to throw out ideas, I got tons of ideas. I'm sure in our population,
In fact, we met that.
but again, it eliminates that. That's what you want to get rid of on the volunteerism. Unless somebody steps in and says, I'm going to reorganize your whole admissions process. Fine, well that's great. You know, you've got 20 years of experience, you come right on in. But if we say, do we have any volunteers who would like to organize our enrollment process? You're not going to, you know, just be pressured to death. And I think that's what happens with the IFA and with some other things is we're asking people to do something. They don't have the expertise. They feel the pressure. Somebody's got to volunteer. So we're kind of hurting ourselves because we're not giving them a pathway. I think your idea of expanding a little bit, where are the touch points that cause problems? That make people say, I don't want to do that. Okay, then could we say either we eliminate that job, or can we put some things in place that say, no, well, here's the way we will do it from now on. So there's a viable way. We're enhancing volunteerism. We're not putting it up like a wall, that can intimidate people.
Yeah.
And then we get mad because some people didn't take this job and other people are running away because they don't want that job. So everything has a little bit better rampway.
I think that's the biggest stumbling block to getting the people to want to be a home in RCCL is the IFA.
So could we think about, like you've already identified some with the IFA, the idea piece, and the artistic piece. Not everybody can do that.
Right.
In some cases, even the time commitment. You work, those people do the IFA. Wow, that's a big time commitment. But some may say, oh, I'd love to put this together. This would be cool.
Right.
And they jump into it. So I wonder if in some of these things we need to break them out more. Or like the Grandparents' Day or special events like that, helping out with open house. If they're broken out a little bit more and create a better on-ramp.
Yeah.
Because for the volunteer, I think it has to be a positive experience.
Yeah.
Because then they're more willing to volunteer more and do more than just one item.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's counterproductive.
They feel, they made a good contribution and they did it.
Yes.
And they feel appreciated and they'll want to do it more and they'll feel happy to do it.
Yeah. I don't know if you know the Ravi Chandras, their youngest daughter now, Shruti, she's in the 7th grade. And we were going over all this about 4 or 5 years ago, volunteering and everything. And someone noticed that the Ravi Chandras hadn't volunteered. And I said, oh, really? I said, I start my Saturday MathCounts in October from 9 till 12, and we run through April. And Ravi comes to every one and coaches, helps me coach the kids. Do you think that would qualify? So in other words, I think this goes to that point. Here's somebody who says, oh yeah, that I want to do, that I can do. Now, this is a little bit more unique. It's teaching of mathematics and mathematic problem solving. But you open up a door for somebody as opposed to sending out a note. I need somebody to help me every Saturday morning from 9 to 12 for the whole year. And you've got to usually study about an hour to 2 ahead of time to be prepared to teach these problems. Any volunteers? Then I send lament after lament every month. No one signed up yet. You just create a very ugly feeling. I'm mad because I can't get anybody. Parents are shrinking back. Well, I can't do that. I can't have that time commitment. As opposed to, okay, here's somebody, we gave them an on-ramp, just like we're looking for here in these various jobs. So if someone says, I would like to be the brainstormer for coming up with cool projects. Okay.
Actually, have a possible.
Then they don't need to make pizzas.
We brought that up at the
Right.
parent committee meeting,
Exactly.
and we had someone interested. I've been communicating with them. I was actually going to ask her, would it be possible to pay that person some of the $200 volunteer pay? The parents who can't volunteer. I didn't say anything to them about that, but
Why not?
remember we had a very interested person who's seriously thinking about that. Yeah, Scotty, man. Now he's going to be on tape. Right? Nice guy. He seemed quite interested in that.
He's always has great ideas.
Yeah.
This is very qualified. He's probably very qualified.
Scott Man?
One of our parents is a real artist.
He's
Yeah.
artistic, great
I think you
ideas.
need
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I almost think you need to make the personal ask on some of those kind of things. And then when you say, instead of saying, like you said, okay, I need a volunteer, and nobody, but if you say, you know what, we've got an idea, person set up, it's so-and-so, have that, make the personal ask on that. We can get him to do it, then you, by the time you publish it and say, hey, you want to be a CCL, and we have this idea person, this is going to be great, instead of saying, okay, we need
Yeah. That's just thinking about it. Think about when you volunteer. Sometimes I'll do it because the help is needed. But if I think I can add something of value, Okay, yeah, I want to join this because I feel there's some value in it. I think we're touching on that a little bit. We don't just have these jobs set up. There a little bit that's there, but there's also some sense of adding value because of who I am, and therefore my volunteerism lines up with that.
Well, I think you'd
Sometimes
be
some
great for
parents
that
would do
job.
pizza day,
Training
adults, they're just fabulous. They just make the whole experience better. And others, just throw the pizza on there. That's not them. You can't really blame them. If I gave a pizza party, it'd be very boring. Other people do it, and it just, the whole class is happy the way they do it.
And I really like having the notion of having a meeting with the teachers, because they have their finger on the pulse. They know what would work very well too, and
Yeah.
I think they would like to be asked and say, oh,
Right.
okay,
Involved.
like what are your ideas? What idea would a teacher have that that they could pass along to the parents?
Well, I think somebody even said last time, Miss West said they, instead of doing pizza parties, they had a popcorn and
Yeah,
ice
that
cream
was her
social. So the
suggestion.
teacher came
Yeah.
up with an alternative to,
Mhm.
so, yeah, I like the idea of meeting with the teacher.
So,
So that's what it is.
Sounds good.
and separate from that, I just wanted to bring up again, the IFA and all that money that was raised and vote. There's going to be a vote, right, later this year. How to get more parents involved in that vote. I'm changing the topic. I'm talking now about
You're talking
the
about the funds, the
Parent
parent
that were
committee has
raised.
the,
Yes.
The end of year parent committee meeting where we look at the money raised and,
Yeah, how to get more parents to vote on, I'm assuming there's going to be a couple of options, right? Where can this money be spent? Usually with the Debelaks, right? They come together like a parent
Well,
meeting.
with staff and
With the staff and so
teachers,
on,
right.
other parents have suggestions sometimes.
And they have several choices, options. Should we spend the money on this or on a few things or whatever? And usually, how many parents show up to vote?
10.
10. Okay, it's not very representative.
No, last meeting we had a good rush.
can you make it where people don't have to be present?
That's what I'm
To
saying. Can we do like an vote or something? Just
Like the
Yeah,
video,
some way to do it.
some way to do it.
Isn't it?
Can volunteer spot be used for something like that?
To have people vote?
Yeah, no.
No,
Survey monkey.
but yeah, I mean, like Survey Monkey you could do, or,
Survey monkey would work. That's anonymous, right?
That's anonymous, yeah.
You can actually vote anonymously. Let's do a survey, yeah.
Because I
Pick
think
your
that would increase
That's right,
engagement.
that
would-
A lot of money
So
was
you have to
raised
do
at the IFA.
Survey monkey
If they
vote.
feel now they're being asked, for.
How can you do better in school? What can you,
Yeah.
you're gonna have a say in what,
You feel they're more engaged and you're gonna have a more representative, a more accurate result, when the voting comes in,
Probably hand in hand with that, if you send that out, I think that's a great idea, but lots of explanation. Like, for example, not last year, but the year before, we raised money for air conditioning. Then we ran into the problem, okay, so we have the money to get the air conditioners. The problem is we don't have the money to rewire this side of the building. So that became a whole different issue that we didn't realize. We need 220 lines. Now, we've gotten prices on that, and we've talked with the diocese of splitting the cost. So I'd like to, if we send something out, we'd want to say something ahead of time about where past money has gone.
right, and we did discuss that at our last parent committee
Yeah.
meeting.
So nobody thinks,
Right.
wait a minute, we just
right.
gave it for
well,
this.
you can put out a video, someone explaining, okay, this is the one option we have, this would be another option spent, and what that involves and
Good
what it
idea.
is, and then we're gonna follow up, and you have the information, so go ahead and tell us what you think would be the best
Good idea.
use.
Right.
We should be circulating minutes of that meeting one of these days.
Brenda, yeah, I'll have to check with Brenda on that.
Because we did go over
We did go
where the
over,
money is.
we
where-
did
where-
go over
where
every
the plans are
past
for.
IFAs,
So-
past,
Mhm.
and then past where that is, that's still in our fund restricted, so we have that set aside, the air conditioning money.
Right, right.
So we did
Mhm.
bring that up in our meeting last month, but,
Yeah, we're still looking to get it done in June. There's a whole a class of
Yeah.
Chinese students, 4th and 5th graders from a city in South China who want to come with their parents for 2 weeks.
Wow.
oh,
But we're waiting till April to figure all that out. kind of a school and field trip experience. for
Oh,
them.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah, would be a great open door. They've already asked if we have groups of kids who want to go there.
maybe. Chinese,
All right, so by our next meeting, this will be,
Hey?
by our next meeting, we'll have this already hopefully on its way. We've got
Have you had a
everything done.
project idea coordinator on that list yet?
Well, that's what I'm saying, I almost think that, I mean.
It can certainly be put on at any
I almost
time.
think that should be almost a personal ask, if you already have something in place, and get that in place before you start trying to sell the next person on a CCL. Because then you'll say, you know what, if they say I'm afraid about it, I say, well, you don't need to worry about that, because so-and-so has agreed to be.
Mhm.
So if you get that set up, you may not, doing it in there amongst a list of 25 things, they're going to know they have until September. I think you need to set that up now, so we can get our CCLs in place before.
Mhm.
I mean, you might want to put CCL in there, but it was nice last year to have them in place going into the summer. That
There's
was
two
nice.
so far.
Yeah, so that.
Yeah, CCL is on the list, but
Yeah,
that
two
is definitely
volunteers,
something I
CCLs
think that
for
people, you rarely get
Yours-
people to just come up and say, you know,
yours truly
I
is
want to do that, rather than someone going.
But I wonder,
Would you
you know,
consider-
the whole switch in changing parent committee participation to be more of a communication piece was to be more of a communication piece.
Mhm.
But then, you know, then it takes on also being a homeroom parent, coordinating things and stuff like that. Maybe if we can sort of disperse those responsibilities a little bit, then make it, again, what we wanted it to be, and that's a communication piece. So you say, yeah, I'm letting the parents know about this. I've heard from 4 or 5 parents this. So now we come back to what we originally made the change for, is to have a more robust communication
Right.
between the school and parents, and more ears and more eyes that are listening. So you don't get overwhelmed by traditional homeroom parent obligations.
Right.
Right,
We need to have more of the CCL show up for these meetings.
right, it's.
Yeah. Or adjust
Where are
them,
they?
you know, you just, I don't know, do an after-school Paneras or something.
Yeah,
You know, rotate it in the suburbs if you do something to make it more accessible. If it's valuable, then then that meeting is valuable, and then everybody who wants to be a part of that valuable meeting, you make time, as opposed to the meeting's valuable. But it doesn't necessarily meet what everybody is their scheduling. What's important is that all the communication is there. Okay, now what's the best way to do that? As opposed to we're going to have a meeting, and then if you want to be there, you got to come at that time. Not everybody can. So we may have to say, well, we have to adjust when the meetings are, or we have to have 2 versions of the meeting. One's in the morning, one's in the late afternoon.
We could videotape the meetings and give everybody a chance to watch it. Listen to it.
but part of the meeting is the feedback. I mean, you can stand and watch a video, but part of it is the interaction between all of us. And that's what makes the meeting.
Mhm.
I mean, you can keep recording things, but you still, it's the give and take, with the other being the one we're talking. And
Mhm.
that's part of what makes the meetings good, is interaction between everybody.
Or send a representative if you can't make it. right?
Yeah, I know, I sent that email yesterday, it says, tomorrow's a meeting, remember, if you can't, send a representative. Because we'll say, if you can't make a meeting, send anybody from your class, as long as your grade is represented, because every grade has a different perspective on what
Yeah.
is going on. So.
Okay. That's productive.
Thank you.